Good morning, YouTube tubers. How you folks are doing? Another great day. Another great day, folks. It's the 21st day of December. We're 4 days out. We're 4 days out, folks. How things looking at your end? We are 4 days out from the big day. From the big day. We check it. We list. We list. We checking it twice. Annette Cummins. Good to see you, Annette and Siobhan McDonald. Fennel Innes. Great to see you as well. And Margaret Nelson. Good to have you here, Margaret, and all the other guys who are joining us. Great to see each and every one of you. Good to see you, Margaret and Siobhan and Beatrice. Beatrice Selby, great to see you as well. And lots of folks already here. Good to have you guys. Joy, Pamela, Joy. Good to have you. Who else do we have? Beatrice, I see you there, Beatrice. We see you, Beatrice. We see you. Good to have each and every one of you guys who are here with us. Can't do it without you. We can't. You're the wind beneath our wings, folks. The wind beneath our wings. We are ready to get into it. Last to share with you guys. Last to share with you guys. And we're so happy that so many of you are already here. Season's greetings. Let me take pattern off of Siobhan's comment there. Season's greetings to each and every one of you, you and your family, folks. Season's greetings to you all, and hope things are coming together because, once the Guyanese and so on, you're aiming for one thing, you're aiming for that big day. Everything is towards, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and so on, and then we start tapering off. Yolanda Thomas, good to see you, folks. You're joining us on YouTube, as you guys are. You can, smash the emoji button if you see it there. Yep. Do let us know how you guys are feeling out there. There's an emoji button there as well. And you can, believe it or not, you can share the broadcast. As I understand it, you can share back to Facebook too. You can share, and I think I'm gonna try doing it. Good to see how it comes out. I'm gonna try doing it. Good to see each and every one of you good folks who are here with us. We're so happy that you guys are here. We are gonna share. We're gonna share. Yeah. We're gonna share as well. Let's see how it comes. We're gonna try a thing. Yep. Guys, type in there all caps for us. We're live. Type in there all caps for us. We're live. Type it in right there and let the folks know. In all caps, we're live. That's what we're gonna share. We're sharing the link back to Facebook as well. We're just asking you guys to do things we are not doing ourselves, and put an exclamation mark for us. After the live, put a huge exclamation mark. Yeah. And then hit the space button for us. Good. Thank you so much. And let's see. We're live, folks. We're sharing back to Facebook as well. Yeah. But good to see each and every one of you who are here with us. We are so happy. Yeah. Looking great. Looking good. Yeah. Good to have you, folks. Seymour George, great to see you. And Loretta Argyle, I see Gwyneth Anderson is here. And Rihanna Mingo, I see Beatrice Selby. Good to see you. Seymour George says emoji for them trench crap. Yeah, throw a couple in the chest. This good Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday, folks. We're smack. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, we're smack out in the middle of the week. I gotta confirm. When in doubt, Google. It's Wednesday, folks. The 21st day of December. We are 4 days out from Christmas, and I trust that you guys are great. We hope that y'all make some money this year. And once we pass Christmas, the year is done. Practically, it's 9 days out from the new year. Believe it or not, we are 9 days out from 2023. Isabella Butcher, it's good to see you. And guys, we really hope that 2023 is miles better. Even if you had a great 2022, this last more to accomplish out there, we hope you have an even better 2023. A fantastic 2023, folks. That's our hope for each and every one of you. Welcome, guys, who are joining us. Quite a few things we have on the morning papers for you. Annette and Isabella, Margaret, and all the other folks who are saying season's greetings and so on. Oh, y'all are such a family. I see somebody, is it Beatrice? The comments are going by a little fast now. I think asking about Judith. She's doing fine. She's doing fine. And when you see her, you see her. When you see her, you know her. Right? When you see her, you see her. She's doing well, though. She's doing well. Much better. Yeah, and it comments says we're leaving the crosses in 2022. That too. that too, leaving the crosses in 2022. Guys, we're happy that you guys are here with us. Put up a cup of something. We were having some of our favorite Taylor's tea bag. You know, we were gifted that by some lovely folks like you guys. I watched us even out. Thanks to the king. Thanks to the king. You know, I think when we say thanks to the king, it's always money we're talking about, you know. But sometimes it's some other things. Yeah. Some other things. Thanks to the king. Thanks to the king. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody sent me a book the other day. Always grateful. Always grateful. Always grateful. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We got a couple of things in the morning papers we want to get into. I think the guys are going to bring up a big graphic and try to stick it in your face there. Yep. Thanks for joining us, guys. And last Sunday in the morning papers, we want to share with you folks. Lots happening at your end, my end, and all our end. Lots happening that we want to share with you. You great, beautiful, gentle, peace-loving folks. Lots happening. We want to share with you guys. Without any further ado, we want to share a couple of things with you all. Yeah, quite a few things happening. Quite a few things are happening. Believe it or not, quite a few things happening. And we're going to be sharing a couple of them with you good folks. And first up, guys, first up, you know, we saw this and we got a little, somebody put quotes on blast, you know, not the quotes. You know, Courts Guyana Inc., the furniture people, they put them on blast this morning. There's a whole letter in the paper. Somebody saying, I'm asking that Courts Guyana Inc. deliver my purchase item. Apparently, they haven't been able to get through to the top management. When they call, when they go, somebody else, and they get a long run around. And they're saying here in the morning papers, you know, on December 5th, I made an online purchase. I made an online purchase of an item from Courts using my Visa card. 2 days later, my Visa account was credited. Courts could identify the details of my purchase through the last 5 digits of the order number, and they gave the digits there. Today, the 20th day of December, this is the 5th, the 20th of December, the item could not be delivered. I made almost 20 calls to customer and delivery service department, with each representative giving unclear and indefinite details of this item. Yep, the people want the item. Purchase days tell us on the 5th day of December, and they're still waiting. The money haul out from the account, and they're still waiting. I know, I don't think this is Courts' level of service. I think Courts is better than this. So something is up here, folks. So, you know, we are all for the consumer, and we're saying, Courts, let's get this item to this consumer. Please, let's get this item to this consumer. 15 days out, you know, they paid for the item and we gotta get it to the consumer. Please. Person put them on blast this morning. In addition to that, folks, other things we're following in the oil and gas sector. Kaicho News is telling us this morning that these new oil contracts that will be signed, the administration giving 2 weeks, a mere 2 weeks, to hear from you on any aspects of it you don't like. 2 weeks to peruse and to make recommendation. Of course, something like that needs a little more time. That's the point they're making there in this Kaicho News article. Government to give Chinese 2 weeks to peruse and to make representation for these new oil contracts. That's what they're telling us. Yep. We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that. And we know, this is an administration that likes a lot to condemn the last one. But if, really and truly, when you think about it, if APNU AFC did not put in place the framework that it did for the oil and gas industry, starting the process for the National Resource Fund, passed the legislation and all of that, unfortunately, didn't get a chance to spend any of those oil monies. We had to budget the old-fashioned way. But if the last administration didn't do what they had to do, we would have been in terrible trouble now. And we'll be talking a little bit about the economic circumstances under which we find ourselves in this country a little later on in the program. Yeah, everything is not rosy at all. And in this oil and gas economy that we have, guys, we got a couple outstanding issues. I'm going to ask you guys to just pull this one up for us. We got a couple outstanding issues in the oil and gas sector. And that's why we tell you 2 weeks to peruse, an oil contract with all its nuances and intricacies, you name it. Now look, I'll just pluck out a couple of them. Right. The current administration campaigned on the fact that this last contract here, the 2016 PSA, the production sharing agreement, was inadequate, and they were going to, you know this word, renegotiate that contract. Well, we're almost 3 years in to their tenure, and we haven't seen one word, one letter of the contract change. But they promised, right, bigly, they promised bigly that they were going to revise and renegotiate the contract. Folks, listen to me, 3 years later, nothing in doing. 2 years later, nothing in doing. And then we got some other issues. Like the royalty. Listen, you know, this 2% is not sufficient. Of course, received a lot of flack for that. Never mind, in 1999, it was President Janet Jagan who got 1%. Renegotiated and got 2%. Right? They're in for 3 years. They haven't changed any of that. They haven't met with ExxonMobil. So these are all outstanding issues. And then when you want to compound that, these new contracts, you only get 2 weeks to peruse. You see the kind of problems we're going to face, folks? You think you understand the kinds of problems, Marlon Lorimer, that we're going to face, Beatrice, that we're going to face? And we can pluck out another one of the issues we still to deal with in any comprehensive way. Flaring is a big issue, and its impact on the environment. You know, them boys rather pay for the toxic emissions than try to correct that process there. This is like if a chimney giving off smoke. Instead of trying to correct and burn whatever you're doing or dispose of it the right way, say, you know what, I'd rather pay the fine. It's easier to pay the fine than to try to correct the problem. But the problem is not the fine. It's not money we're trying to raise. The problem is the environment. That is the problem. And what will be left for future generations? The problem is the environment. It's not the money. So them boys know the fine is minimal. We can pay it off. Right? Once we get a pump. They like pump, you know. They want to pump out all the oil. So we got to watch that. 2 weeks is not sufficient, and we're very, very happy that Kaichur News has raised this issue. Folks, I know oil and gas is not one of those things the guy you swinging from the chandelier. You know, we like swing for the money, but we got to touch on some of these issues ever so often because it's now the main driver in our economy. So we got to touch them ever so often. So that is one of the things making the morning papers. We're going to be given 2 weeks to peruse these new contracts, and then, folks, we turn our attention now to some of the sad news. Touched it last night. Just wanted to circle back for some folks who might not have heard it. Is this issue of these children who drowned in the Pomeroon as the boat they were in capsized. The Atkinson, I think, is the family name. And a sad saga here. The children aged 1 and 5 were fished out of the Pomeroon River yesterday. Again, the boat they were traveling in, for some inexplicable reason, capsized, and they lost their lives. And of course, whole communities are now grieving. And this is regarding the death of Roshana Atkinson and her brother Josiah. Roshana was 5 years old. Her brother was 1 year old, Josiah. Right? And they are from Karawap. Right? Karawap there, and in Region 2. And again, Monday night, this mishap happened, and the bodies were recovered yesterday. Yeah. Spirit thought for the families. Could you imagine the level of grief they are going through, folks? Can you imagine that? Unimaginable grief, like you cannot believe. Pray for their families, right? Peace on earth and goodwill to all men. Let that be part of your goodwill this season. Yep. Tremendous sorrow for that family at a time when really and truly you trying to hold loved ones closer. Right? But this is the current situation, folks, and we just wanted to circle back to that. We talked about it last evening, but for those of you who may have missed that, 2 children. Can you imagine that? I can hardly count in on losing one. Right? And I think the natural order of things is children bury their parents, No, so young, 5 and 1. God, God's in prayers with their family. And look, we did tell you folks we're circling back to this whole issue of the economy, but look at this story here, right? Food for the poor secures release for 2 prisoners. On the face of it, it's a fantastic story, right? Trying to rehabilitate people back into society in a meaningful way. Kudos to Food for the Poor. Kudos for Food for the Poor, folks. Kudos to Food for the Poor for making these strides. Right? But as we went through the story a little more in-depthly, look story here. Imagine these gentlemen who are going to be released were placed on a fine, guys, and for the want of money to pay the fine. They didn't tell us how much the fine is, but they're telling us here it was a minimal fine. Right? The amounts were minimal. I'm thinking it's probably, I don't know, 20,000 and less. That's right. That's what I'm going to put it at. 20,000 and less. And the Food for the Poor said they could not afford that. Right? Food for the Poor Incorporated has paid the fines and secured the releases of 2 non-violent offenders in time for them to spend the holidays with their family and friends. And it says here in the report, according to the press release issued by the Guyana Prison Service, the prisoners were incarcerated due to their inability to pay the required fines, even though the amounts were minimal. And what I've learned in my short life, when you think you bad, they got folks who are worse than you. When you think you that bad, Yolanda Thomas, Ayabo, Natasha Congress, there are folks who got it worse than you. The report again, Marlon, it says it's a minimal fine. They can't even afford that. Some folks got it rough. Marlon, however rough you think you got it, Ayabo, Hewler, Lapham, and Rubens, they got folks who got it worse than you. Audrey Ward and all the other guys got it much worse than you. And I said, wow. Right? I could see some of you say, I am a last 100,000. I am a last 2 million. Right? Man can't afford a $3,000 fine. Right? And I'm telling you, laugh at it how much you want. Sometimes the difference between living and dying in this country could be a bag of tennis roll with cheese, right? And some black water. So the fines were minimal, the fellas couldn't afford, and Food for the Poor stepped in. And we say kudos to them and continue doing what you guys are doing. They stepped in. Yep. So those guys are now going to be spending time with their family. And that is another thing on the morning papers, another, and I think this is the Guyana Chronicle carrying a proper story after a long time, right? Carrying a proper story after a long time. And then, folks, as we turn attention to what's happening internationally, lots of things happening internationally. Chevron, Joel Ward, lots and lots of things happening internationally. Look, good to see so many of you joining us. Simone Graves and Gloria Chester. Gloria, how are you doing? Gloria, I don't think I've ever seen you on YouTube before. So welcome to the tube, Gloria. Somebody messaged me yesterday and say, he was in pains that he's going missing FYI because he's not on YouTube and something. So I'm going to have to be guiding him a little closer. How to get on. Have you folks been finding it difficult to navigate YouTube? Those of you like Gloria who perhaps not so familiar with this platform, have you guys been finding it difficult? We can gotta hold some folks' hand and bring them. Right? Hold some folks' hand and we're gonna bring them. Because At least one person says he's getting some challenges. So we want everybody to be able to join us. Everybody, good to have you, Jolly Anderson. I see you have some other letters after Anderson there. And I see also Joel Ward is here. Simone Graves. Simone says, no, man, I ain't got no trouble. Dolly says, sometimes. Winston Henry, good to see you. It takes some getting used to, folks, but I'm certain you're going to get a hang of it in no time. But in international news, folks, Zelensky goes to Washington. Yep, President Zelensky of the Ukraine should be addressing Congress. Of course, he's going to be telling them that the Ukraine needs more arms and ammunition. For this war they're waging against Russia, they need arms and ammunition. And I highly doubt that Russia expected this war to go on for so long. I highly, highly doubt it. And it's been a major embarrassment for Russia. Major embarrassment. Because we've been following some of their equipment, breaking down some of the, if it works at all, some bullets is now firing since the 1940s, and a whole host of other things there. But Zelensky is going to be going to Washington, this is the Ukraine president, seeking weapons and more weapons. Weapons and more weapons. Yep, so they can keep up that fight. And do it in a credible way. Yep. Good to see you, Margaret Nelson, Gloria Chester. Yes, Gloria, I see that comment there. Yeah, I don't call you. Good to have each and every one of you guys. Some things happening, folks, around the region we think you all know about. And this one is right in French Guyana. Cayenne, French Guyana, right next door. They tell us a former bishop of French Guyana, also known as Cayenne, has been found guilty by the Vatican court of sexual abuse. Guilty of sexual abuse, according to the Vatican. And they're telling us this is Bishop Emeritus Emmanuel Lafont. Bishop Emeritus Emmanuel Lafont of Cayenne, French Guyana, has been found guilty of sexual abuse by the canonical court. This is the court there of the Vatican, and banned from public ministry. He has been banned from public ministry while the country's civil authorities are investigating charges against him. Banned from public ministry. And again, his home country. Investigating charges against him as he was found guilty of sexual abuse. Yeah? Yep. Right next door, French Guyana. Cayenne there. Yep. We're going to be following that. We're going to be certainly following that. And as you know, our thoughts really and truly go out to our Catholic brothers and sisters, And it's not only the Catholic Church has been rocked by things like this. It's right across the spectrum. Right. Some of the most heinous crimes have been, committed by people who claim to have a closer relationship with God than the rest of us. And further, I say that. Down in the 592, folks. Down in the 592, folks, I'm telling you, we're seeing some things. It's like the Wild Wild West. When you're hearing some stories, it's like the law and order out the window. It's the Wild Wild West. Now we saw this one here. A man is claiming that they're being harassed by some folks. Gunplay and a whole set of stuff. Could you imagine somebody rolling in a police station behind you with a gun? Can you imagine that? That makes sense? Well, in this one Guyana, them boys in that police station know where the power is there. We saw folks fighting in a station in Bartica. Nothing ever came out of the matter. Two families fighting in the police station. The police said, me getting involved. I like my job. Right? This one here is very, very bizarre. Take a look at what we saw recently.
It's like, come back at the station yesterday, the guy America send insecurity and beat up my body, lash you up in the face with the gun. Now we come now, we did not come out today now, and I see them over by the gas station there, and I take up my phone, and I go and video them because the police stand on and arrest them. You understand? And they run over me, they run me over back the road, right, with my phone, and they say they want to take away my phone. In the station they come, right? In the station they come with my phone, right? Come on. In the station they come, right? Put up, right? How do you inspect it down? You inspector? Officer in charge of division, right? This is the officer in charge. And then what does them down now? This is Mr. Stanley. This is Mr. Stanley. Right? Give Mr. Stanley. I'm the man of protection myself. Please come to me, please. Listen to me. Nobody can do nothing. Please come to me. Nobody can do nothing. I'll feature you. Next one, sir. Wait here. You report for me, you are one second. Sir, and this one, when you pull it out, this one is far. This one is far from the security there. Look, from the security packet.
Right away, take control after the thing. How much rounds was discharged?
All right,
come, get up.
Get up. Police come now.
Just down from Johnson.
Officer can't go outside because the reason why they come in here, sir, is because, right? It's because I go over the road there and I say,
Armor minor, armor. Armor minor, armor. Brother, the gentleman was disarmed and I take it from
Mommy. No, let's sit down. Mommy, come, mommy. Mommy, it's under here. Yahweh, mother, under here. Mother, my mother, under here. Under here, my mother. Right? My mother. Mommy, what happened? Come, mommy.
Yes, sir. Look, the man had the firearm. He went in the room. I come, doing Mackenzie. I talk to the man and the man.
Come, mommy.
So that the weapon was in the room. This is the car.
Yes, I did it.
Yeah, you parade room, he was there. He had a firearm.
Mommy? One. Yes. And you trying to get this on. Please give me something for function now.
I come in, talk to the man, and get it to release.
Yeah. Welcome back, folks. Now, this is gunplay at the police station. At the police station, the man is trying to get refuge in the police station. And the people with the gun, who are not police, running in the station. And unfortunately, the gentleman's mother seemed to have fainted in the process. That's why we're asking the question, is the Wild West, like Law and Order out the window? It's the Wild West. You know, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. That stuff you see in the movies. Right? You're running in the police station for refuge and boys pursuing you in the station. You understand why mommy fainted? You understand why mommy fainted? Yeah. Believe it or not, that's what went down there. And folks, another sad story we turn back to. This story of the young lady who was killed, 37-year-old, on the west side, when that bus from Virgin Nugent ran off the road quite recently, and she was pinned underneath and died as a result. And the report said that the bus was trying to hit some other vehicle, and in the process hit a parked minibus and another vehicle, and then came to a stop, ultimately killing this young lady here. Well, the driver, in an update for that story, they're telling us that the driver has been charged. Yep, the driver for that bus that killed the young lady, he has been charged. And the young lady, of course, was Gayatri Susankar, barely 27 years old, and a pedestrian, you know, just in the wrong place and at the wrong time. Well, not necessarily the wrong place, but the wrong time, definitely, because Miss Susankar didn't know, Gayatri Susankar didn't know Devon Daniels coming through. And the report also said the bus was going at a fast rate of speed. Then your Devon Dazil. And ultimately, folks, thanks guys, Ms. Susankar lost her life on that public road there at Virgin Nugent, or rather Region 3. Let me just broaden it. Yep, lost her life there, Gayatri Susankar. And again, we say thoughts and prayers, go to your family, and the guy has been charged. That's what we wanted to circle back to. Guys, you got a new story for us. Do let us know. We know you guys come across lots of information on a daily basis. Send some of it our way. On a daily basis, you guys come across information. Send some of it our way you think is newsworthy and that we ought to be covering. And folks, if you got a business, a product, a service, an event coming up, and you want some folks to know about it, look our way. That space is just for you. Just for you. That's the number you want to call. 627-6963. 627-6963. Yep. I want to direct your attention to this. All the story we covered last evening, I want to circle back to again. Tanisha Johnson, 11-year-old, found dead on the hammock on the ground. Her mother said she just left to go to the street, right, for the fisherman, to buy some fish, when her brother came running after her saying something happened to Tanisha. The hammock was in the backyard, tied to a tree. And when the mother got there, there is Tanisha Johnson, 11 years old, on the ground and unresponsive. The 13-year-old sister says that she found Tanisha with the hammock wrapped around her neck. She thought she was playing, but then soon realized that this was no play and that Tanisha was in trouble, and sent the brother running after the mother. The lady said they were playing in the backyard, just playing in the backyard. Folks, you think you understand what happened here? Just playing in the backyard, and then tragedy strikes. You know, I have found in my own experience, and this perhaps is not for all parents, right? But I found that you gotta supervise kids. The minute you hear them go quiet, the minute out of your sight, you know, the minute our son, our youngest son, goes quiet, St. Zane, you know, you gotta go scrambling after him because he's a bundle of energy. He's got 4 children and what? He's a bundle of energy. As soon as he goes quiet, you know, you're up to some mischief. You guys say, hey, you see this guy. What are you doing there? Right? Sadly, Tanisha Johnson lost her life. And they call this a bizarre accident. A bizarre accident. The father was at work and he related the story to the media. They call it a bizarre accident because one of the things I remember the father saying is that they always play in the backyard and they know how to use the hammock. Hence, this bizarre accident. The mother just gone to the road to buy fish as the fishman passing, and the son comes running after. Mommy, the nation trouble. Folks, our thoughts and prayers. Our thoughts and prayers go out to this family and the community there in Region 6. Our thoughts and prayers go to them. It's a difficult time for them. A very, very difficult time for them. Yeah. Very difficult time for them. And we're following in other information we think you ought to know about. You know, this renowned professor in economics, Jeffrey Sachs, he's coming and is going to be the keynote speaker at the annual energy conference. Jeffrey Sachs, a professor in economics. This is not people giving, you know, fake professorship, you know. All right, he's a very bright guy, a very bright guy. I hope they got his stomach to hear some of the things he may want to talk about, because all is not well. You know, when we started, we told you of, you know, the guys released from prison thanks to what do you call it? Food for the poor. Incarcerated because they have money for the fine, a minimal fine. That's what the report says. A minimal fine. They ain't got money for the fine. I hope they got stomach to hear and take the advice of Professor Sachs, because we know these guys just like photo ops, you know. They're just like photo ops. But they're listening, they're hearing, but they're not listening. We hope they take the advice. Whatever advice Professor Sachs might give them when he comes and is part of this energy conference. And we saw Tagman Media put out this information, and that was captured by Starbuck News. And folks, as we head into the big issue, we're looking at the cost of living, the high cost, not just the cost of living, it's the high cost of living. Can you imagine? You haven't got a little fine money, a little 10,000, a little 15. You know, I understand that acutely. You're buying a pay since July, and then by tell me it's still May before I get paid again. And I understand this is part of the prosecution, right? It's part of the prosecution, right? You either stand your ground or you give up and you give in. I think I go home, I sell the shop man, right? It's prosecution. Give a bag of flour or give him a 2-pound sugar. You better carry something to the shop with you. And in these dire times, folks, people got it difficult. People got it very difficult. And that's what we're discussing as part of the high cost of living. And you know what is driving it up? Inflation. In the inflation, high inflation is driving up the cost of living. High inflation driving it up. Now, they tell us that inflation usually is around 2.1. You know, that's perhaps an acceptable. But inflation locally, it was around 7% in July. And folks are saying right now it could be as high. It could be as high as 8, 9, 10%. Inflation. And now look over the years what inflation has been. And you can determine the administrations that were in power and how inflation fared. What does this mean? What does inflation mean? The purchasing power of your dollar. All right? You know, lots of us put it in this way. You know, when I used to go to the shop with 20,000, I used to get 3-4 bags of goods. Now 20,000, I got a little paper bag coming out. And lots of things are still got on the list to buy. That's because of inflation. The prices go up. So the same amount you're working for, but you're buying less. The same amount of money you're working for, but you're buying less. Look at inflation over the years and how the administrations have been able to deal with it. You know, and we're looking at from 2009 right down. Right? Remember the higher the inflation, right? The more it impacts your purchasing power, the less you can buy. The higher the inflation, right? Could you imagine that in 2000 and in 2020, inflation was 0.2? 0.2. If Ashley could achieve inflation at 0.2, them boys would be writing to you know, the fellows overseas for the Nobel Prize for Economics for Ashley, right? But Winston Jordan accomplished that under his tenure in 2020, before they demitted the office. Inflation at 0.9 rather. 0.9 for 2020. Can you imagine that? And these guys got it at 7, 8, 9%. That's why when you go to the shop, you're buying less with the money. Inflation is the cause. Well, leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton, addressed this whole issue in his press conference yesterday, and I love the statement that he put out, because it's a very detailed analysis of the PPP's work over the last year at least, and how people are still hurting economically in this country, right? And we're not going to take his word alone for it. We can circle back to some other folks. But this is Mr. Norton just yesterday in the press conference of the People's National Congress Reform.
The PPP continues to fail the people of Guyana. 2 years plus of PPP rule has made it manifest that the PPP is incompetent, divisive, corrupt, and is making the lives of Guyanese worse by doling out the resources of this country to its elite friends, families, and favorites, while allocating crumbs to the people of Guyana, thus forcing them into hardships, hopelessness, and a life of poverty as they fail to create the 50,000 jobs they promised. As we near the end of another year, the occasion presents itself to evaluate the changes in our quality of life and our destiny as a country and as a people over these last 12 months. As citizens, we need to ask ourselves, are we better or worse off in our homes, our workplaces, our communities, and in our society? Are we more or are we less financially and economically secured and empowered? Are our concerns, grievances, and demands better addressed? Are we more confident of and hopeful in the future? At the start of the year, the PPP government promised that 2022 would be a turning point in the destiny of Guyana. In unveiling the nation's first oil budget, 50% larger than the previous budget, the minister responsible for finance stated that the government, I quote, is buttoned down in its resolution to serve the cause of unifying the people of Guyana, and at the same time to ensure that the lives of all Guyanese are meaningfully, demonstrably, and lastingly improved, unquote. Clearly, these are mere words. The reality is that we are worse off. Instead, the PPP has made 2022 one of the hardest years on record for Guyanese. On the economic front, the cost of living keeps surging, while the government showed no urgency, no capacity, and no genuine care to ease the burden on the people. Poverty and inequality increased. Living from paycheck to paycheck led to more misery. Many parents, especially single parents, cannot afford to feed, much less clothe and house their children. Hopelessness stalks the land. From as early as January, we in the opposition called for a range of urgent people-centered responses, such as a comprehensive anti-poverty plan, a 25% plus salary increase for public servants, healthcare workers, teachers, and other state employees, $10,000 plus increase in old age pensions, the removal of income tax for low-income earners, multi-billion-dollar investments to revitalize depressed communities, and a massive grant scheme to spur the startup and growth of micro to medium-scale businesses. As the cost of living continues to spike during the year, and with the government still demonstrating indifference and incompetence, the opposition further called for a cap on fuel prices and for a waiver of water and electricity payments for low-income households. All of these demands were rejected. These measures would have brought direct relief to our people and would have put income in their pockets. The rejection of these proposals is a clear indication that the PPP regime does not care for the people of Guyana. The government seems singularly focused on promoting large, most times infeasible projects aimed at giving a significantly large portion of our nation's resources to their elite friends, families, and favorites, while delivering crumbs to the people who should be the real beneficiaries of our oil income. Moreover, we noted the persistent inflow of unexpected high oil revenues occasioned by the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. We pointed out that this oil windfall equated to $300,000 per household and proposed that this money be equitably and transparently distributed in a structured and focused way to the people of our country. Again, PPP rejected this people-centered proposal. The government instead preferred and still prefers to lavish its attention and the country's bounty on its friends, families, and favorites. Whatever cash transfers it doled out to citizens were one-off, selective in coverage, inadequate in amount, and are politicized and discriminatory in its allocation. Whatever salary increases it awarded public employees were already eaten up by high inflation and its concomitant high prices. Our people are no better off because it is too little, too late. The real income of our people has declined since their present income is purchasing less goods and services compared to 2020. The year 2022 also witnessed the unceasing erosion of the rule of law, democracy, good governance, and basic human rights. The list of PPP transgression is very long. These transgressions have resulted in most people concluding that Guyana is an authoritarian society hurtling towards dictatorship. We declared months ago that as a result, the nation faces a political crisis. We pointed to such abuses as the continued corruption in high places, foremost among which remains the Sugate allegation of bribery and abuse of public office swirling around VP Jackdale, and the government's refusal to investigate these allegations. 2, the use of Suku and the entire police force for political intimidation, oppression, and the violation of human rights while protecting the police from legal challenges, thus promoting and condoning lawlessness. 3, the sabotage of the Public Accounts Committee to prevent it from scrutinizing the people's money spent by this regime is a clear indication that the PPP is bent on squandering the nation's resources while not being accountable or transparent. 4, the continued disrespect for communities in opposition strongholds and the practice of bribery as the sole means of obtaining political support. 5, discrimination in the award of contracts and employment opportunities. 6, the callous demolition of homes and stalls of innocent, hardworking Guyanese, especially in APNU and AFC strongholds, while treating their own strongholds differently, even if they are in similar situations. 7, the non-invitation of opposition representation on state boards and the non-access to the state media. 8, the obsession of the PPP with political domination and control and the concomitant rise in executive lawlessness. 9, the exclusion of civil society in making decisions on issues of national importance. These and other abuses by the PPP have made a lie of its self-delusional One Guyana mantra. As some have pointed out, One Guyana, the apparent new national motto, sounds more like one party rule. As we near the year's end and assess all the money spent and all the attacks suffered by ordinary citizens, one thing is clear. The PPP has either foiled our development or has taken us backward at all levels and in all spheres of society and economy. Guyana is worse under PPP rule. The PPP's 2 years in government is a clear indication to all that the APNU AFC did a better job at governing Guyana. We in the opposition believe that Guyana can and has one of the world's highest standards of living, should have. We believe that Guyana can be one of the world's happiest societies. We believe that Guyana can achieve the goal of zero poverty and zero misery. Unfortunately, we are experiencing zero transparency and zero accountability. We believe that Guyana can be a model of democracy and good governance, and the only obstacle for that stands in our way is the incompetent, divisive, corrupt, and secretive PPP regime. Guyana could only achieve the ideals we espouse if there is a caring and competent administration. We intend to be that administration. Permit me also to, on an obligation I made at the last press conference, I undertook to look at our press statement to see what is said in it and then to deal with the issue. Our press statement said on the issue.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. That was Mr. Aubrey Norton, leader of the opposition, the parliamentary opposition, and leader of the People's National Congress Reform. Just yesterday, talking about how dire the economic state is in this country. So you see the big figures that oil and gas is going to push the GDP to 50% and all of these fancy things. But the reality on the ground is that a lot of people are hurting. That is the reality. We see folks walking around town, but a lot of people just window shopping. Window shopping, no money in the pocket, but dreaming out there, window shopping. And, we saw some surveys over the last year that tells us quite a bit of what we're feeling now. For instance, you have the Caribbean COVID-19 Food Security and Livelihoods Impact Survey that told us exactly what we know, right? This wasn't done by APNU FC. This was done as, I think, part of a project for CARICOM. The Caribbean COVID-19 Security and Livelihoods Impact Survey. Right? Here's what it says. 35% of citizens in Guyana, this was Guyana, 35% of citizens increasingly worry about meeting their food and other essential needs. 35%. Right? Believe it or not, 58% of respondents from Guyana are moderately or severely food insecure. Right? Can you believe that? 94% reported having depleted savings. I didn't write in there. 94%, right? And it's 94% reporting and 94% depleted savings. Right? 64% of people have reduced spending on essential needs. Reduce spending on essential needs. You start by bathing soap and deodorant and so on. Bath soap and so on, you start by 64%. You see? Reduce spending on other essential needs. Right. Yeah. That was one survey. And let me point you to another one. This is the IRI survey, the International Republican Institute National Poll. This is the IRI, the International Republican Institute. This was their poll. 22% of Guyanese responding to their survey said they have trouble feeding their families. 22%. This is not no gimmick. IRI is a credible international organization that did this survey. 17% say unemployment is their number one issue. 70%. Right? 98% say in the dark concerning the oil and gas sector. 98%. Look at this one. 35% say they have enough to survive, but can't afford anything else but survival. Can't afford anything else but survival. Right? Now, these surveys done over the last year or so wasn't commissioned by the parliamentary opposition. Right? They weren't commissioned by the parliamentary opposition. Thanks, guys. But it tells us what the real people are feeling out there. So you understand why Mayor Ubrach Narayan and yours truly had to do what we had to do. Because when you go out there and you see single mothers plying their trade there, trying to earn an honest dollar, and saying to the folks, you know, we can move, but what's in place for us? That ensures, like the folks at the top, we have bread too. What's in place for us? And that's all we were trying to say. You know, meet with the vendors and have a structured program for them. Oh yes, we want to move you all from here, but this is where we're going to put you all. Right? We want to move you all from here, but you all can ply a trade so. You all can organize yourselves better. Right? I didn't see anybody stoop down there and get them 100,000 each for the discomfort. So 300,000 and say, well, we're sorry for putting you out of business here, but hold this little bread here. Hold this little bread here. And that is why when we spoke with Professor Dr. David Hinds last evening on our affiliate program in the ring, he said, Ubrach skinned them up because he laid bare their pretenses. These people, they don't talk with one Guyana. Show us. Let it be about action. You know, and Dr. David Hinds really explicated on from this issue here and told us why Ubrach skinned them up, folks. Take a listen to Dr. David Hinds as he was in the ring last evening on the very subject matter.
It's unconscionable to take bread out of people's mouth, especially poor people. Those mostly women, young women, middle-aged women, are out there, they're plying their trade. They chose not to become prostitutes. They chose not to become deviants. They chose to earn an honest dollar by going in the public space at a place where people assemble and earning a dollar. They're taking the burden of the government to take care of them by attempting to take care of themselves. They should be commended. They should be encouraged. And at Christmas time, a government can go there and chase those people away from making a dollar. It's unconscionable. I am not oblivious to the fact that any society must balance order with freedom. But in this case, freedom means survival for poor people. And that what they earn in front of the hospital there could be, and I'm sure is, the difference between going to bed hungry at nights. And so sometimes a government must make a hard choice. Yes, we have the right to promote order. Yes, we have the right to ensure that the public space is occupied by all. But sometimes you have to take a strong stand. And if you believe that poverty stalks this land as the statistics are showing, then you would ensure that those people be given the benefit of the doubt. I've seen no report, not one report, where some patient died because they were hurrying to get into the hospital and these stands were there. I have not seen any report. The government is saying maybe this potentially can happen, but it has not happened. And so that's the first thing. The government has come down on the side of the big stick order over people earning a decent, honest living. And as the WPA said in our statement, that they are denying them the right to life. The right to life. So that's the first issue. The second issue is the total disrespect for the rule of law. There is something called separation of powers. There's separation of powers between central government and local government. The local government, you are a former councillor, deputy mayor, and there is a sphere that is left there for the municipal government. And the central government attempted to take that space away. Where is the rule of law? Where is the rule of law? And the mayor, joined by you, did the right thing. Did the right thing. You put your bodies on the line in defense of poor people. In defense of poor people. And what was remarkable about the mayor's stance is that he was defending the rights of people in an ethnic society who are not of his ethnic group. That should not be lost. It should not be lost. And then what does the government do? It brings down the two most powerful institutions of force in the society. The police brought charges against you all. The army stripped the mayor of his standing, even though the mayor was acting in his civic capacity. Are we saying there's a law that says if you're a soldier and you're elected to office, you must obey the laws of the army and not the laws that go with your civic responsibility? Since when your civic responsibility clashes with your responsibility as a soldier? The mayor was not acting as a soldier. The mayor was acting in a civic capacity. And my understanding is that there is some superiority here. That the civic is superior to the army. But they put those two institutions on you all. And for me, that signals that we have reached the lowest point. We are now a full-fledged police state. If the mayor was not violating any law, why charge him? Obstructing traffic? People obstructing traffic every second of the day. You want charges? Go all over Georgetown. You can find people obstructing traffic. But no, you use that flimsy mask in order to go after two political opponents. It's ugly, it's illegal, and this government ought not to be allowed to get away with it. So that's the second thing. The third thing, you are saying the mayor made intemperate statement, racist statement. The mayor was thinking aloud. He was asking, is this a Muslim state? He's asking, does my Hinduness prevent you from meeting me as a legal, lawful, elected citizen? He was asking, why go after these poor people of one ethnic? He's asking questions. Since when it's illegal to ask questions of power in this country? To ask questions of the state? That right is enshrined in our Constitution. It's a settled right. It's a human right. It's a God-given right to ask questions of power. And these people have no shame. They went after that mayor. Well, I've been in politics long, my brother. And I know that when you see governments jump, it means you poke them somewhere where you're hurting them. They jump when you say apartheid state. And it seems as though the Muslim-Hindu fracturing that occurs, it's in our society. It's not just African-Indian fracturing. We have religious fracturing in both African community and Indian community. And we know that there's a historical fracturing between Muslims and Hindus. But this government wants to give the impression, they want to tell Indians, you may be a Muslim, you may be a Hindu, you may have different gods, but in this Guyana, you are united by your Indianness. And I think the mayor, by asking that question, has brought that out into the open to say all is not well in the Indian community, that there may be fracturing. Let the government prove that there is not fracturing. The burden of proof must be on the government, not the mayor. The mayor was wondering aloud. He was wondering aloud. Are we moving into a Muslim state? But let the government prove that this is not the case. Are we moving into an apartheid state? Let the government prove. Don't go after those who are asking questions. And so, my brother, that whole matter, I think, as the young people say, skin up the government. Unfortunately, when the government skin up, is our country gets skin up. And for too long, we've had to bear the burden of looking like fools to the rest of our neighbors in our Caribbean and the world. And it's time that we say, no, enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah, indeed, folks, indeed. Enough is enough. I love what Dr. Hinds said there. I see some of you said Dr. Hinds is very passionate. Right? Some of you say, Ubraj, expose that. It's true. Yep, I see Fitness Queen. Says, Ali so fragile, always in his feelings. That's absolutely true. Always in his feelings. And that's going to do it for us at this end, guys. That's going to do it for us. And, you know, we know how some of you in the diaspora want to know what's happening back home and missing back home so much. And we do some of these pieces just for you, folks. We're going to give you some live shots of what's happening in the city as people move back and forth and, you know, kind of do the Christmas shopping, trying to stretch the dollar. You know, we got some of those shots for you. We know that some of you will feel as though you're on Regent Street in the nice sun here. Some of you in the cold at your end there. All right? This is some of what is happening, folks, on Regent Street. As we speak, we told you all, the whole complexion of Regent Street changing, you know. We're going to be in the minority soon. Watch and see. We're going to be in the minority soon, guys. In the minority. People are, you know, trying to pick up on the little things, you know, whatever the little percent can afford for the season, you know, and some of us, like me, just window shopping. Just window shopping. If you get a salary, how you going shopping? Right? Just window shopping, looking around, right? looking around to see
Everything is on
what's
sale.
going
Come
on.
on down to Tech Source. We have all
You know,
the
see
electronics,
what's happening.
all your gadgets.
Let's hear what this young lady
We
selling
have it
us.
on sale. We have the Amazon Kindle Fire, the 8-inch, currently $15,000, and we have the 10-inch for $20,000. So come on down. We have lots of stuff. Take a look around. All the phones on sale now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. That's some of what's happening right now, folks, in the city. Folks are out, window shopping. Some people shopping, but seeing what can be done and how we could salvage Christmas. This is Alexander and Regent Street. Right? I can see some of you trying to say, but it's when I say, I remember this place, but it's where is that? Yeah, it's Alexander Regent Street. Let me just help you out a little bit. Alexander Regent. Tommy Gibbs says it's cold in Brooklyn, but folks, it's warm here. A little rain intermittently. Right? A little rain intermittently. Let's hear this is young lady telling us.
Prices ranging from as low as 3,000 to 2,000. I'm making flowers to meet everybody's pocket. Who can't afford expensive one? I have the more expensive one. And as we are today at the 20th, I'm only taking orders. Okay, I'm not bringing any more. So most of the here that we see here is that person's order. Half kitchen towels and nice, lovely fridge stickers.
Yep. That's some of what's happening on the outside, guys. I know some of you can already feel the warmth. Some of you can already feel that warmth of Regent Street. And just for you guys, we're going to continue to bring you scenes like this throughout our programs. So you can feel it. We're sending some to Brooklyn. We're sending some to the Carolinas. We send, yeah. Right? I see Anna Phillips saying, Sharon, wear your Santa outfit on the programs. Girl, you take the thing out my tats. You take the tats out my head. This used to be Allen's High School area. We're passing there. Allen's High School used to be on the left. It's no longer there as far as I know. Right? And this is, you're going out, this is Pigot area. You're heading to a border market here. I think we're going to pass Hamid's. This might be Hamid's we're passing here. And then you have Pigots coming up. Well, used to be Pigots back in the day. Right? You're going to be old enough to...
Christmas, we get good price. Wonderful price come down in the shop. You will get a discount.
On the outside rudely interrupted me. That that area used to be this area used to be Pigots. You got to be old enough. If you know Pigots here, you're gonna show your age now. This used to be Pigots here, and as Fitness Screen says again, more sellers than buyers. I see Warren Figueroa is here with us, and Warren says, when will Ali go up here and get his feelings about Jack Dio?
Window towels,
When
kitchen towels, window blinds, something to drink if they're thirsty. We have party clothes, we have jumpsuits, we have dresses, plus sides, we cater for people, all people. Right?
We could find
and
you.
in this very corner too, we also have ventilators of floor and all that.
Okay. And where we could find you?
At the corner of Border Street.
Oh.
Yeah, I think this corner named Border Street. Border Street, right? And Regent. Border and Regent. Yes. So people could come on down and look for what they want. Gifts, perfume, all kind of things. Watches. There's variety in this corner. Bed sheets. Yes, and sneakers going at reasonable price, name brand. 28,000 for sneakers. Pumas. Yeah, 22. 22,000. Yes. To suit the pocket, you know. We ain't killing people. Look, Nike slippers, name brand. All right. So people are they come on down and to board the street and see what we have. Old and young alike. Children, men, ladies, your children, my children, just come through. Okay?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep, that's going to do it for us, folks. Y'all can't say we have not been thinking about you all here, though. You cannot say we have not been thinking about you, good folks. That is going to do it for us. We're going to see you guys back on the podcast. We're going to see you guys back on the podcast. Sheila Boy Child, Tommy Gibbs, JG, Fitness Queen, Annette Cummins, Warren Forguera. Good to see you, Warren. Good to see each and every one of you. And Annette knows your story. Annette said used to be pick at drugstore. You see that? I didn't know your story. You used to be pick at drugstore. Yeah, our sister had a good time. A good time there. That's some what the city looks like, folks. Right? Joy Pamela said, the sneakers is my whole pension. True, Joy. True that. True that. Have a great morning, folks. We're going to see you guys back in the podcast. Stay safe. Stay safe out there.
Anything you want to get. What you don't see
Should bring the pair of sheets.